What is up, everybody? I'm your host of Browning and Stave, and I'm a no-nonsense type of guy. I call it like I see it, so this video is probably going to hurt some feelings. Thankfully, only like 10 people watch these, so the hate mail should be minimal. On that note, a ton of people watch our shorts, but we gotta beef up the numbers on our long-form videos like these. To do that, we need your help, so be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. Midterms 2022 was hardly the shellacking it was supposed to be. We barely won the House, and the Senate is still a toss-up. This is not a red wave. This was a light drizzle at best. This was supposed to be Republicans popping champagne by 10 p.m. because they had already taken House and Senate. What the hell happened? Now, I don't want to be a negative Nancy. We did win the House. There is still a chance for the Senate. DeSantis smoked Christ by 20%. It's like over 1 million votes. Florida is all red, and even Democrats said the Obama coalition is gone. We even picked up multiple seats in New York. And speaking of New York, Lee Zeldin lost, but only by 5%. That's incredible considering Democrats usually win it by 20+%. Andrew Cuomo carried it by like 25%. So it's not terrible. We won. We can at least block the worst of Biden's dumb ideas. But why was the red wave exclusive to Florida? This is where feelings get hurt, because I have multiple answers, none of which hardcore Republicans want to hear. For starters, our candidate quality was questionable at best in several key races. Mastriano comes off as an angry, crazy person. Masters harped on the 2020 election instead of the issues people care about right now. Herschel Walker has more scandals than Fetterman has brain cells, which brings us to Oz, a TV doctor who was easily branded a snake oil salesman who didn't even grow up in Pennsylvania. Seriously, we didn't have anybody that was a little bit better for the job. Do your absolute honest best to put your biases aside. Put yourself in the shoes of an independent voter in Pennsylvania who doesn't really follow politics closely, thinks both sides are terrible, and is really just going for the lesser of two evils. Are you going to vote for the guy who has political experience and grew up in Pennsylvania, or the rich guy from Jersey selling bullshit health remedies on TV who has no political experience? Republicans made the mistake of thinking that everyone in the base was really excited. The problem is people in Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, they didn't have a DeSantis on their ballot. What did they have to be excited about? Candidate quality matters. This midterm cycle was an indictment on Republicans. We don't have the same luxury as Democrats do. If we want to win, our candidates have to be competent. The culture war cannot be their main focus. It has to be the cherry on top of good policies. Now, as I say this next part, just remember, I'm not intentionally trying to be mean, I'm just being honest, because I want to win in 2024, and Donald Trump is not helping. Numbers do not lie. We need to stop trying to capture lightning in a jar for a second time and move on. Here's the reality. About a third of the country loves Trump. About a third of the country cannot stand the guy. And the other third liked his policies, but would prefer someone more professional, like DeSantis, who just turned Miami-Dade red. For those of you who don't know, that's insane. Miami-Dade, Pinellas, and several others flipped red. Florida is now a Republican stronghold, and that doesn't happen when the leader is polarizing and lacks a basic filter between brain and mouth. Trump has also attacked DeSantis twice now, one time literally on Election Day, saying he has horrible dirt on DeSantis and will release it if DeSantis dares to run against him in 2024. Does that sound unifying, professional, like a leader who has their party's best interest at heart? It doesn't to me. And the voters seem to agree. The candidates who are currently at odds with Trump did pretty well. His hand-picked candidates got wiped out. Herschel is going to a damn runoff. We won't know those results for a while. Trump got candidates nominated, then stopped funding them. He set us up for failure. Ben Shapiro is fuming too. He's also more intelligent and well-spoken than I am, so we're actually going to close today's video out with a clip from his latest episode, The Red Trickle. I'm sure I lost a subscriber or two for saying mean things about Trump, so if you're watching and you get it, do me a huge favor, hit the subscribe button.
Right. Okay, so here's the question for Republicans. Would you like to win like Florida won? Or did you like the rest of the map last night? Was the rest of the map good for you? Did you enjoy that? You smoking a cigarette this morning after how the rest of the map went for Republicans? I wasn't. I'm pissed. I'm enraged. There is no way that Joseph R. Biden, a person who died several years ago, should have earned the single best Democratic in power party performance since 2002. That should not have happened. None of that should have happened. Something went deeply wrong. Something went deeply wrong in the rest of the country that didn't go wrong in Florida. Republicans might be wise at this point to take a look at the Florida model and say, how do we expand that out? What should we do? What can we learn from that? How do we do that everywhere? And maybe the answer isn't all that tough. But is that the person you want leading the party? Because there is a giant leadership vacuum. Who's the leader of the Republican Party right now? Is it Kevin McCarthy? Do you think it is? I don't think so. I don't see that as a leadership class at the top of the Republican Party in any way, shape, or form. And Donald Trump certainly is not the leader of the Republican Party. He is not. Not because he's not de facto a leading figure who is a Republican, but because his priority is not the Republican Party. If you're the coach of the Baltimore Ravens and you go out there every single week and you don't actually do much coaching, you just kind of stand on the sidelines and you just point at people who make mistakes. You're like, that guy's terrible. I can't believe him. He just won't do what I say. And then your team keeps losing. At a certain point, people might say, maybe that coach isn't amazing. He's not amazing. Like, he is the coach of the team, but he's not very good at being or maybe that's not his priority. Maybe his priority is the ad deal. Maybe his priority is getting ready for his next job. We don't know. But if you are looking at what Donald Trump, his impact was on this election, it was not minor. His handpicked candidates did poorly last night. Blake Masters in Arizona, Herschel Walker in Georgia, Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania, Don Baldick in New Hampshire. All these people did not do well. They did not do well. I mean, there are several reasons why Donald Trump's impact on the election is going to have negative ramifications for Trump 2024. Number one, if he announces next week, you think everybody's in a good mood? So Donald Trump has operated on sort of a theory of unfalsifiability thus far. So yesterday he was interviewed by News Nation, and he was asked, so depending on how the election does, should you get credit or should you get blame? And he gave a typical Trumpian answer. I'm going to say that I think this is half tongue-in-cheek, but then he goes on, and it's not quite half tongue-in-cheek. Here's what he had to say.
You've endorsed more than 330 candidates this election cycle. Tonight, win or lose, the results for Republicans, how much of that will be because of Donald Trump?
Well, I think if they win, I should get all the credit, and if they lose, I should not be blamed at all. Okay,
and then he continued along those lines. And he said, I shouldn't be blamed at all. And I won't be that way. But really, I deserve all the credit. That's what I deserve is all the credit. Donald Trump raised in excess of $100 million in this campaign because of all the mailers and all the rest. He spent $15 million in this campaign. Mitch McConnell, who the base is very angry at and who Donald Trump is very angry at, spent $234 million from the Senate Leadership PAC in this particular election cycle. Donald Trump got a bunch of people nominated, and then he stopped cutting them checks. He nominated Mehmet Oz Trump's endorsement was Mehmet Oz's nomination in Pennsylvania. He nominated Mehmet Oz because he thought that Mehmet Oz was good on TV. Kari Lake probably won the nomination in Arizona because Donald Trump endorsed, because again, she was good on TV. He endorsed Herschel Walker because Herschel Walker is a famous person. These are not good reasons to nominate candidates. And then he proceeded not to give them any money. This is not a strategy for victory, and everyone knows this. We're now saying the quiet part out loud. Donald Trump was a drag on this election cycle for Republicans.